Welcome back to this week's Sister Scoop, where we are going through Marvel news, the big 3 topics for this week, and we have some cool and nice ones that I like talking about. Let's start with Daredevil Season 2, which is already going to be filming by the time we get Season 1. I like that.
I think this is great. I mean, y'all know this is something that I have been counting down to. Season 1 is something I've been counting down to for a long, long time. Very excited. This means we're not going to have to wait too long for Season 2. I think this is a no-brainer. I know in past episodes we've kind of called Marvel out. I think it was in relation to Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man being like, why would you, greenlight a Season 2 and you haven't let go of Season 1? Or release Season 1. All right, let's separate what's going on here. This is a show that has actually had 3 relatively successful seasons. People are chomping at the bit for this because they liked it so much in its earlier iteration at Netflix. Yeah. Also, the trailers, people are losing their mind online about the latest trailer. So, yeah, I think we're all feeling pretty confident that this is going to blow it out of the water. And the fact that I now don't have to wait that long, this is great news. I'm feeling wonderful.
I think the bigger thing, too, is we know this show relates to the MCU already. We've seen Daredevil in 2 other properties. We've seen Kingpin in 2 other properties. We've had these characters already make their MCU debut way before this show even came back. So I think I don't question for a second why it would have a second season / a 5th season, because we've seen these characters. Daredevil is established. You're bringing Punisher back in. Great. That's a story to go with. We've talked about Punisher being part of the, Midnight Suns and all that stuff. This makes sense to me because, again, I see it in the bigger MCU realm. They have more to play with now. They have the Spider-Man story to possibly play with, even if it's vague and then they do it in a movie. It doesn't matter. They have more options. So I think in this case, I don't question why you'd want to do that. And to your point, it's a highly anticipated, if not the most highly anticipated show Marvel has been putting out probably the entire time they've been doing television shows.
Yeah,
no hate towards any of the others. Some of them have been absolutely, most of them have been pretty good. The only one that really tanked was Secret Invasion. Let's be real.
Yeah.
And so it's
bad.
Oh my God, let's not even, I felt bad even mentioning it. But, at the end of the day, they put out pretty good shows. This one is different. They haven't done
special.
This before. Yeah, because they're picking it back up to something that maybe they didn't necessarily create, but people loved anyway. It started the TV realm before Marvel really got into the TV realm. So,
and
it makes sense.
And not to mention, he's the gateway to the whole Defenders universe. I mean, that whole universe started with him, to your point, on Netflix. And there was a Luke Cage Easter egg in the trailer. He's going to bring them all back. I think we're all pretty much ready for that now. And so this show is going to offshoot so many things and it's going to be amazing. And yeah, let's also be able to tell his story in a much larger format. I mean, then there's the part that a couple years ago we were talking about when it was first in production and filming, it's going to be an 18 episode season, which gave me a heart attack because I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have to turn these around really quick for 18 weeks straight. I'm going to need to sleep for 6 years. But I think really it was supposed to be that longer season. So this is probably just the back half of the story that they were already going to tell. So for that reason too, it's not that surprising.
Yeah, I'm not shocked. I'm just excited.
Yeah.
But moving forward, kind of in the same vein, Kingpin getting ready for big things. I think we kind of touched on a little bit of this last time when we were just discussing the trailer and the whole Mayor Kingpin thing. But this isn't shocking to me either.
No, but what I love about this is, we talked about it. The trailer hints at it. Everything that we've seen so far has hinted at it. We did a whole episode talking about it. But now Vincent D'Onofrio is actually confirming, yes, this is going to lead into something bigger. And so I think just knowing that we're getting these tidbits now and they're trying so hard not to spoil anything, but they're still giving little confirmations. I mean, the fact that he's already confirming that means this is what we talked about last episode. Means that there's so much more that we haven't even started to think about yet if they're willing to confirm that already. There's just so much that's going to come out of this show. And yeah, I my level of excitement is beyond words.
And I don't think like I said, I don't think we're shocked about this news because we did do a whole episode about this. I think ever since Echo, which came out a year ago already, we said, what does this open? And it opens
Yeah.
so much. And that's why we did an episode about it, because it's not just the Spider-Man storyline and him being mayor. And I really do advocate, I know you said it last week and I'll say it this week, go listen to that episode. It's around January or February of 2024 that we did it. It's titled, I'm pretty sure, just like Mayor Kingpin or something of that nature.
I think so.
Yeah,
we're not very
not
creative when it comes
guys.
to titles. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. But I really do advocate to go listen to it, because we did kind of talk about like the present, what that looks like, but there's so much more to the story and really how it ends up unfolding and the consequences and things of that nature. And like where you start is not where you end. And let me just make that very clear. Like, you end up in mutant land, quite literally, by the time we finish that story. So it's like, I do advocate go listen to that just to kind of give yourself a rundown. I'm not saying that's exactly where we're going, but it makes sense that these blocks have been getting put down. We've been building upon them. There's a foundation. And it's exciting to me that they are going that way. To what you said, they wouldn't have confirmed something to us that's so big in the trailer if there wasn't so much more coming.
Yeah. Just a lot of good stuff to come. March and April / into May are going to be like insane.
Oh, you gotta put February in there with Cat 4. I mean, like, the next 4 months.
Yes, it's going to be kind of amazing to be a Marvel fan. Like, we're going to be eating really, really well. And Cat 4 coming out in a few weeks, man. I bought my ticket this morning. I am so ready.
I have to get mine. It's on my list, but I am very excited. But speaking of some movies, let's talk about some we haven't. Well, one, I'm angry at Marvel about waiting this long for. And the other one, I'm like, we'll see. Shang-Chi and Doctor Strange 3. Well, I should say Shang-Chi 2. Getting started, possibly going to be ready by 2027. Possibly. I don't take anything of a timeline true anymore. I am disappointed that we've had to wait this long for a sequel to Shang-Chi. That came out in 2021. Come on.
Yeah.
MOM, am I shocked? Like, no. After MOM, like, I'm not shocked that we waited. However, I think we talked quite a few times about how we thought Doctor Strange 3 kind of needed to happen somewhere right around Secret Wars and Doomsday or whatever. I'm happy, but I don't know.
Yeah, it just feels, you know what it feels like? And I feel like this goes for the MCU at large. And I also feel like someone said this to me recently. Like, Marvel has just been missing their window. Like, they get us excited about a character like Shang-Chi. Or I don't think they missed the window on Ms. Marvel, so that's a bad example. But let's take Shang-Chi and run this example through. Great movie. 2021, in a year of pretty decent movies, great movie. Loved it. Big fans. You wait 6 years and you've lost steam because you've also not put him in anything else in 6 years. And yes, he was in What If, and that's great. But like, in live action, for him to not be involved in anything when his end credit scene was him getting involved with Carol Danvers, Bruce Banner, like, what are we doing? What does that team look like? I don't know, because we saw Carol in another movie and she never referenced working with them. So it has just been really disjointed. And I think they've done that with a few characters or a few storylines, like even just beyond characters themselves. Doctor Strange is the perfect example. You want to talk about an incursion? That's great. That's literally the whole storyline of Secret Wars. And somehow this movie might be coming out after Secret Wars. Sorry, but to me, and if you read the comic, there should not be incursions after Secret Wars. We're done. That is it. You might still have a multiverse if you choose to go that direction, fine. But an incursion's not going to be a problem. And I don't think that end credit scene was setting up Secret Wars. It needed to have set up a Doctor Strange 3 because, as we've said 1,000 times, we are too far away from what is going to be an insane Secret Wars movie. We are not prepared at all, and it comes out in 2 years. Like, you gotta do something, Marvel. You gotta make real strides, and Doctor Strange 3 is really the only property on the slate right now that can move the needle.
Yeah, I'd have to say it makes me think we're gonna see Secret Wars and Doomsday pushed back again.
Oh,
which is
God.
fine. I'd rather it be pushed back though, and then let Doctor Strange 3 come out. I also think, to what you were saying about Shang-Chi, I couldn't agree more. It's extremely disappointing to me. I enjoyed that character a lot, and it's extremely disappointing to leave him hanging. And I know Simu Liu has literally been sitting here like,
Hi, I'm here.
I don't know. Like, he gets these
Sign me up.
questions. I mean, even during Barbie, like, they're asking him about this, and he's like, couldn't tell you. Whenever they call me, like, I'll be
I'm
there.
ready.
Yeah, and that's so disheartening to me to do that to somebody in general, let alone like a character we all enjoyed. I mean, I'm pretty sure from my remembrance, like everybody really liked that movie for the most part. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's hard, and I do agree. I think there's a missed window consistently. Even like we talked about it with Riri Williams and with What If, but then we're like, yeah, but now you have this show coming out. I don't care about this character because I haven't
Yeah.
seen her in now 3 years. I don't
Yeah.
care. So I do agree there's a lot of missed windows. I think both of these kind of fall into that. Again, MOM was what MOM is, but the fact that we're not going to get a sequel to that movie for 5 years after it, that's crazy.
It's
So,
ridiculous.
I mean, I'm glad to see them on the slate. I'm not upset about it. I'm glad to be getting news about it, but I'm upset to see what it looks like the date's going to be. Now, I'm no fool. I obviously know these movies take time. I wouldn't have expected them to announce them and be ready by the end of this year. I understand that. But it is still disappointing to actually see it kind of put on paper at this point. That's like, I'm excited for the movies themselves, but I'm sad to see that they've had to wait this long, and I'll be anxious to see how they connect them. I think that's something we've talked a lot about, especially with Doctor Strange, how his movies do or don't connect. We'll see. So
Yeah.
that has been
Overall, Marvel
this.
needs to balance new characters and continuing storylines way better than they have been. That's just
I mean, I
the
agree.
thesis of the story.
Yeah, I agree. And on that note, that has been this week's episode of Sister Scoop. Make sure you guys join us again next week as we cover 3 new Marvel topics. And of course, go watch the podcast as we're gearing up for Captain America Brave New World, which we're very, very excited for. So we'll see you guys next week. See ya.